Hey y'all, what is up? In today's video, I wanted to take the time to show you my journey as an artist and to walk you through just about every sketchbook I have. And the reason I want to do this is because it's so vital to your artistic journey to reflect on your growth and to see how far you've come, to see what you've experimented with, what you've enjoyed, your different styles and ideas. Maybe there's a past idea that you want to bring back and try again. And so I want to show you all my sketchbooks from 2016 to the present. So that's a decade worth of sketchbooks. Because of the amount of sketchbooks we're going to be looking through, it's going to be a longer video today. In order to help break this up, I've decided to divide the video into 4 different sections. We're going to start with the early years, and that's going to be 2016 to 2019, when I first started taking art classes. Next, we're going to move on to the pandemic years, and that will be 2020 to 2023. I had a lot of time and went through a lot of sketchbooks in this period. Next, we'll have college and onward, which is 2024 to the present. And then lastly, I want to walk you through my grab bag. It is 2 different binders of loose sketchbook pages that I've collected and compiled together. So it's going to be a lot of different styles and mediums and just a whole lot of fun to look through and jump back and forth between different times in my life. Now, as we flip through these pages, I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of this, things that have impacted me, maybe some tips or ways of thinking that can help you in your art journey, including a big secret at the end that has just changed the way I thought about my art and how I viewed progress in my art. It is one of the best pieces of advice that I will ever share. And so, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these 20 sketchbooks. So as we dive into this first sketchbook, I want to share how I started my artistic journey. I started taking classes at a place called Illuminate Creative Art Studio in 2016, and I stayed there for about 7 years. It was, to this day, one of my best experiences, and I'm still close friends with my art teacher today. Now, I want to talk to you about the purpose of a sketchbook. Because as you look through this first book, you're going to see so many different styles and ideas. And that's because sketchbooks aren't meant to be full of masterpieces. Now, they can be, but your focus should be on experimentation and testing new things out. Maybe a new material, a new idea, and because of this, you have to drop your perfectionism. Leave it at the door. There's a time and a place to be nitpicky about getting every single thing right, but if you put that pressure on every page of your sketchbook, you're only going to have worry and strife and prevent yourself from ever finishing a book. So give yourself that permission to fail, abandon a sketch, dislike the outcome. Just enjoy that process of making something. You also have to embrace the mess. You're going to see these blank pages, half-finished pieces, random scribbles. Because back then, I wasn't financially conscious and worried about paper. I was just a kid enjoying my drawing. And every unfinished sketch is going to teach you something. And so you need to be open to that and willing to learn something from an unfinished sketch. As I started taking classes, we would have drills that we would work on. And so you'll see these gradient scales that my teacher had us practice to go from our darkest dark to the lightest light with just one pencil and without lifting the pencil. The goal was to make them as uniform as possible without making them tornado shaped. And this is so difficult, but it helps to build this muscle memory and to be able to repeat this identically. So we need to be able to repeat things. Don't think of a drawing as one and done. Draw the same thing over and over and over to make real progress. Through this sketchbook, you're going to see repeated drawings in different techniques, shapes, directional lines, maybe perspective. So don't put yourself in a box of, oh, I can only do it once and I messed it up. Repeat it over and over again. Now, I've said that it's important to reflect on your old art, but why should we do that? Well, when you look at a past artwork, you can see what you did wrong easily. That's not the hard part. But looking back reminds you how far you've come. When you look at a past drawing versus now, you can compare that growth. And that growth is a beautiful thing, even if that old artwork is going to make you cringe a little bit. But you have to be kind to your past self, because you wouldn't tell your younger self that they're a horrible artist who should give up. Everyone started somewhere, and an old quote-unquote bad drawing of a person might have taught you how to avoid noodle arms and understand proportions. So be proud of the journey you've been on. Be proud of the journey you're on now, even if you're not proud of that specific piece that you saw. To quote one of my favorite book series, the Stormlight Archive, journey before destination. Enjoy the learning and progressing right now, rather than constantly chasing a future target of being perfect at drawing something, because you're never gonna reach it. Another reason to look back through past sketchbooks are because they can act like a time capsule, being a visual diary. When I look back through this, I can see shows that I was interested in, or remember a YouTube tutorial I watched. And that helps to reconnect you with your past younger self. And that's so important and healing to do. So go back, look through, cringe, and see your younger self. See what they liked. Remind yourself of memories and things that you did. As I've flipped through these pages, I have been reminded of so many good memories of learning about a specific thing or watching a YouTube video to teach myself how to draw legs. It's so refreshing to look at your life through the lens of your art. Now, as we move into the pandemic years, I filled so many sketchbooks during these 3 years because being stuck at home, I didn't have a whole lot else to do. So this really improved my artistic ability because just of the mass amounts of art I was creating. This is also when I started injecting color into my artwork more and experimenting really heavily with things like alcohol markers and colored pencils. And it brought me so much joy to make the pages pop with this color and to see how they blend together and just to experiment with new mediums. Now, I don't think I was the only one who found the pandemic really hard mentally. And my art provided an escape for me and a way to express feelings that I couldn't quite put into words. And you don't have to go to a qualified professional for specific art therapy. You can do it at home. Because just watching a page fill up with shape and color and line work, it's so relaxing and so nourishing. Now, in 2021, I was forced to try more abstract art and just scribbling, which was really hard for me. because I had always wanted to make hyper-realistic art and kind of thought that that was the only real art. But that's so not true. But breaking out of that bubble was so difficult. But when I did, I was so liberated. I was able to enjoy art more, create more things that were enjoyable and fun and freeing. And it just is so important to realize how many different types of art there are and how important they all are. I want to take a second and just point out a technique that you're going to see on this page right here. This is called gridding. It's when you divide your reference image and your paper into squares. And that way you can scale up or down, but translate your reference image onto the paper way easier. And I use this technique all the time, and it has been immensely helpful in translating images. I also want to talk about a simple assignment that led to so much more for me. In class, we drew these Zentangles, which you see here. And at first, I was kind of skeptical, but I loved making these. And I loved making them so much that I ended up designing my own coloring book of them. And it didn't turn into a massive business that was super profitable, but it brought me so much joy to create and share, which is really what is important in art. In this next sketchbook, it's kind of torn because I ripped out a bunch of the pages for the grab bag years ago, but I was drawing basically every day in this sketchbook, and August was dragons, and I feel like I grew so much through this constant creating art, and so I would highly recommend giving it a go of just drawing something every day. As you can see, some of the days were really intricate and detailed, and some of them were just really simple, and it just depended on the amount of time that I had. So draw one little thing every day for a month, for a week. See how you improve. Another thing I'd like to remind everyone of is that for every masterpiece that an artist shares and posts, they have at least 100 paintings or drawings that they are not proud of. They were practicing and growing, drawings they would call bad. These masterpieces aren't just made, they are worked for. You have to grow and learn these skills, and that requires making these bad drawings. So don't be hard on yourself when you have to make all these mistakes and drawings you aren't proud of before you get to your masterpiece. Now, another important topic in the art community is whether or not you can copy other people's artwork. And I'm of the opinion that you should. I would love for any of you to copy my artwork. But copying and stealing are different things. When you copy another artist, you're following along with what they did or recreating a piece that they made to learn and improve. When you steal another person's artwork, you're trying to pass it off as your own and profit or gain attention because of that. So while following tutorials or copying pieces from Pinterest or anywhere online is great to understand proportions, foreshortening, shading, lighting, and all of that, make sure you give credit where credit is due. Always share who you got the idea from. Don't just steal an idea and post it as your own. As I'm sure you've started to see, I started switching from one, maybe two things per page to filling them. And this wasn't because I was concerned about wasting paper. It was because I was so in the groove and in creating that I was just filling up whatever space I had. And when I ran out, then I flipped the page. Now as we move on to these next couple pages that have some color on them, I had just received a 12-pack of Copic markers, which, if you don't know, are generally seen as the best of the best alcohol markers. So I was convinced that it was going to vastly improve my artwork, and it really didn't. And this is really when I started to learn that it's not just the quality of the materials that you're using, it really is your skill. And while sometimes the quality of your materials can help, like I just got Arches watercolor paper, which is generally seen as an amazing high quality watercolor paper, and I can notice the difference. I can still create wonderful masterpieces on Hobby Lobby brand watercolor paper. So it really is mostly just what is your skill level. Don't stress about going and buying the really expensive brushes, the really expensive pencils and paper. Just create. And as your skill grows and you get some money and you can buy those nicer things, treat yourself to them. But don't feel like you have to treasure them so much that you can't use them. Because materials were meant to be used, not to sit and collect dust. So use that expensive paper, use that expensive paint, and enjoy creating with it while you have it. I want to quickly point out a couple pages we're about to come across, because I used this one with the Chosen to work on typography, because I was going to be creating a 4-foot by 8-foot mural of the Chosen's logo with my own spin on it of throwing it under the water and putting Jesus' feet walking on the water. Using your sketchbooks to work out design ideas like this is amazing and is really all a sketchbook should be used for. As we dive into a sketchbook for my very first college drawing class, you'll see that it's all charcoal. And you'll also notice that the biggest category of drawings is figure drawings. And that was really rough for me because I struggled with feeling like I was really inadequate compared to my classmates. But over time, I was able to build confidence, and I learned to love the awkward, incorrect practice drawings. We also used newsprint paper, which is what this sketchbook is, and that was really weird for me because I'd never used it before. It has almost a parchment paper feel, and we were told to use it because it was so cheap compared to other large sketchbooks, and so it helped take away the fear of wasting paper and let me practice without worrying. Now, once I got into drawing 2, we continued to do figure drawing, but we moved on to gestural drawing. And so it was fairly speedy drawings that we did here. I'm talking 2-minute intervals, 30-second intervals, just super fast cranking these out. Because the goal was to be able to capture the raw form of a person as fast as possible before you would go back and build on it, which we didn't do because we were practicing the speed. We also did these live shadow tracings like this, and you put several objects together and just traced the shadow of it. And that was a really interesting concept to me. It wasn't something I'd ever done before. As we flip to one of these last pages in this sketchbook, you'll see this elephant drawing again, and that's because we redid it at the end of the semester, and I was so proud of how I'd improved in my colored pencil technique, because I'd always felt like it looked childish when I drew with it. And I am just so proud of how I've grown and what I can see in these pages now. Now as we move on to this next sketchbook, you're going to see so many attempts of painting water. And I struggled with it for hours, days, of trying different techniques and ways to get the water to look the way I wanted it. I was wanting to create a big 18 by 24 inch picture of stormy waves. And so I was struggling with the colors to do, the techniques to do, and so I drew water over and over and over. And it really proves how much repetition helps you to create the artwork that you want to create. This sketchbook was given to me by a really, really good friend when I was younger. And I had so much fun drawing these little kids show images, and it brought me so much joy because I got to see the colors interact and just create these fun little pieces throughout the sketchbook. I tried to not put pressure on making it perfect in each image, and I really just enjoyed it. Now we dive into the marker sketchbook, and I prefer to use Ohuhu markers over Copics because they're cheaper and, in my opinion, perform better than Copic markers. They do offer refills on most of their colors, but they're not quite done at creating color refills for all of their markers. As we flip through these pages, you're going to see a lot of Bluey themed images, and that is because I think Bluey is an amazing TV show, both from the art perspective and from the teaches you great things perspective. Now on these next few pages, you're going to see some practicing with colors, blending and such, And that's because I was taking a alcohol marker masterclass by a YouTuber called Jazza, and it just completely changed the way that I think about color and improved not only my marker proficiency but my watercolor work and just really the way that I work with color. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And as we move into this final section of miscellaneous artworks, I'm going to be showing you these two binders that I displayed at my high school graduation table. And there's so much in here. You'll notice these dragons from August 2021 when I was drawing every day. And I loved creating all these different styles of dragons. And you'll see some of them are more detailed than others, some of them are colorful, some of them are just pen and ink. Really, it was just a time to explore and test new things and just make myself create every single day. As we move on to the second binder, you're going to notice a lot of people. And that's because I was trying to get myself out of my comfort zone. I feel like I excel at doing animals. And so it's really hard for me to do people because I feel like I fail at them. And so I've been learning how important it is to fail forward. And so you're going to notice a lot of different styles of people in different mediums, different body parts, just really testing all these different things. So really the big takeaway after looking through all these different mediums and styles and concepts is don't put yourself in a box. Try all the different things. Redraw things. Don't be afraid to fail. Just keep practicing, keep experimenting, and enjoy every step of your journey. So there we go. That is just about every sketchbook that I have from 2016 to now. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm so excited to keep moving forward going on this journey and to start this journey with you all. I hope that seeing this growth and seeing the drawings that I'm not proud of has encouraged you to keep pushing forward. Even when you don't feel proud of one of your pieces, keep pushing forward. I hope you've enjoyed watching my progress and growth through the years, and I really hope to see y'all in the next video. Have a blessed day.